So 20 years after 9/11, the U.S. is still facing security threats. CBS News senior security contributor Michael Morell was with President Bush the day of the attacks as his daily intelligence briefer, and he recalls what it was like that day.
On the night of September 11th, Michael Morell flies back to Washington with the president on Air Force One. On final descent, a military aide motions to a stunning sight: an F-16 fighter jet alongside the plane's left wing.
The F-16 was so close, you could see the pilot looking at us. And in the distance, you could see the still burning Pentagon. Then he said something to me that, to this day, sends shivers up my back. He said their mission is if somebody fires a surface-to-air missile at us on final approach, their mission is to put themselves between that missile and the President of the United States. That was surreal.
I want to bring in Michael Morell now for more on that. Michael, it's really good to have you here today. I think we all can remember now the video that is sort of seared into history of President Bush first learning about the attack. He's in a classroom, he's reading a book to students. You see his face change. But you spoke to him afterwards when the gravity of what was occurring was sinking in and the strategizing about how to react was happening. Tell me about when you first learned about the attacks and what were the questions that President Bush asked?
Anne-Marie, it's great to be with you as always. I learned about the first plane hitting the first tower in the motorcade on the way from the hotel in Sarasota to Booker Elementary School, where the president was going to do an education event. And like many people, including the president, I thought, the image in my mind was small plane, bad weather, accident. But as we got to the school and I walked into a classroom where the president's senior staff was waiting for him, he was already in the classroom with the kids, we saw the second plane hit. And obviously it was a large commercial jet. And I knew immediately that this was terrorism. And I knew immediately that the culprit was Al-Qaeda and bin Laden, just based on, the decade of work that we had done on Al-Qaeda. I was with the president all day. There were many questions he asked me. Probably the most important is he said to me, Michael, who did this? He looked me in the eye and he said, Michael, who did this? The kind of direct question you got from George Bush. And I told him there were two terrorist states, Iran and Iraq, that had the capability to do this. But I told him that I didn't believe either one had anything to gain and both had everything to lose. So I said, no, Mr. President, I think when we get to the end of the road, we're going to find Al-Qaeda and we're going to find bin Laden. And I told him I was so confident of that I would bet my children's future on it.
And so now we fast forward 20 years, and I'm going to ask you the question that, we probably ask you every time at this time of year, but in light of the U.S. pulling out of Afghanistan, Al-Qaeda is not the organization that it used to be, but there are other threats. Is the U.S. and is the world safer now today than it was 20 years ago? You always give a nuanced answer.
We are absolutely safer, Anne-Marie, and we're safer for two reasons. We're safer because of the significant defenses that we put up to make it much more difficult for people to travel to the United States to conduct attacks, for people to move money to conduct attacks, just much more difficult to do that. So we went on the defense, but even more importantly, we went on the offense. We took the fight to the terrorists wherever they were. This required precision intelligence. It required precision military capabilities. But those two things that we did have kept us safer. But there's a really important caveat for everybody to know. Terrorist groups are incredibly easy organizations to degrade when you have that intelligence and you have that capability, that military capability, and you use it. When you take your eye off of them, right? When you've degraded them and when you take your eye off of them, they're very easy organizations to bounce back. So in the immediate aftermath of 9/11, we degrade Al-Qaeda, but we take our eye off them when we go to war in Iraq and they bounce back. And so by 2006, they're as capable as they were on September 10th, 2001. We've seen this with ISIS. We've seen it with Al-Qaeda in Yemen. So extraordinarily important that we maintain those defenses that I talked about, and we maintain that intelligence and military pressure on these groups going forward, because this is a generational fight, Anne-Marie. My kids are going to be fighting this fight, and my grandchildren are going to be fighting this fight.
So it brings me now to Afghanistan and the Taliban. I think that, many would consider the Taliban a terrorist organization, and now it is forming the government in Afghanistan. And the U.S. is maybe not negotiating, but certainly in talks with the Taliban in order to get American citizens out of the country. What role do you see the U.S. playing, and in particular the CIA's involvement moving forward when it comes to Afghanistan?
CIA's involvement in Afghanistan is pretty simple. We have to figure out a way, CIA has to figure out a way to continue to collect intelligence on the terrorist groups operating there who might pose a threat to the United States. When we were in Afghanistan, when we had a large military and civilian presence in Afghanistan, it was easy to collect that intelligence. We're not there anymore, right? Now it's going to be much more difficult to do that. Director Burns has said that in congressional testimony. But difficult does not mean impossible. So we're going to have to figure out how to collect that intelligence, particularly on Al-Qaeda, watching their capabilities, are they rebuilding them, and watching their plans and intentions. And if we see them rebounding to the point where they again pose a threat to the homeland, then we need to, speak that loudly to the administration and to Congress, and hopefully then the president will act, right, to degrade them before they can attack us. But that's the CIA's fundamental responsibility going forward here.
Michael, before I let you go very quickly, we're learning about the Taliban's formation of the government. We now know that some of the people in the government were former prisoners at Guantanamo Bay. 20 years on, pre-trial hearings are just taking place for the mastermind behind the attack. I just want to get kind of your reaction to the news that some of the very people that the U.S. had detained at Gitmo are now forming the government in Afghanistan.
Anne-Marie, they won this war, right? They won this war. They fought us to a stalemate when we had 130,000 troops in the country. They've won this war, so no surprise that people that we once saw as terrorists and probably still see as terrorists are part of that government. And nobody should believe that the Taliban is going to be different this time. This is a medieval organization that is deeply ideological, believes in Sharia law, and they are going to run Afghanistan exactly the same way that they ran Afghanistan last time.
Michael Morell, thank you so much.
Great to be with you, Anne-Marie.
So, Race Against Time, the CIA and 9/11 airs tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern on CBS. You can also stream it on the CBS News app and Paramount Plus on September 11th.